gods. The entire country up in flames.
Ebtar he warned punishment awaited Edirn, that he would show the land no mercy.
What in God's names did you do to him, Rayla?
Nilfgaard offered us an alliance against...
Watch your heads!
Should have listened to me old lady.
We got a job to do.
Ever have a storm knock out one of your teeth?
If anyone asks, you've not seen me.
This harvest, we'll be reaping black-clad heads.
We'll catch 'em all!
What do you want of me?
Shh! Cork it! catch!
My spirit's willing and how, but these damn boots are killing.
Have it the white of an eye from half a league away.
I'll fight to my last breath.
Company! Forward march!
Coin never stinks, no matter how rank the pouch.
You must sweat like a swine in that jacket.
There's a time to reap, a time to sow, and a time to die.
God's blast it! My breastplate chafes.
Ravens are always trailing armies. Ravens and beasts.
The Lyrians arrived at an ancient, half-desiccated beach. Its trunk sat atop a tangle of thick roots, and scraps of paper covered with tiny scribblings fluttered over it from top to bottom. Travellers crowded all around. Barefoot refugees, bony pilgrims, peddlers with armoured escorts, and shifty-eyed men with the haggard look of deserters.
The Wayfarer's Beach.
Rayla said.
Travellers of all sorts swap tales here. Perhaps we can glean something about our enemy's movements.
Or paint the enemy a clear picture of our own.
Gascon interrupted.
Nilfgaardian spies no doubt flock to this tree like flies to particularly pungent dung.
Meve decided to proceed cautiously. She pitched camp in a nearby clearing and sent a scout dressed as a peddler to investigate the Wayfarer's Beach. Yet long hours passed with no sign of the soldier.
Gods be damned!
The Queen snarled.
Reynard, send some men to follow his tracks.
The Lyrians found the scout's body in the woods a few leagues from the Wayfarer's Beach. His corpse revealed clear signs of drawn-out, cruel torture. Meve could only hope he had managed to hold something back from his captors.
Ravens are always trailing armies. Ravens and
Soon after entering Edirn, Meve ordered a halt. She wished to sit with Black Rayla and plan their onward march, for Rayla knew every path in the realm, including ones not drawn on any map. They were hard at work when shouts rang out among the tents.
One final time I shall say it. As your senior officer, I order you to depart the training grounds, or...
Oh, what? Pray tell, you'll have me drop and give you 50?
What is the meaning of this?
Your Grace, I had thought to use this interval to drill the recruits, teach them
To walk.
to maneuver, Gascon. A world of difference. In perfect harmony must soldiers traverse the field of battle. Otherwise, they could break formation. The enemy would penetrate our lines, and our army could be slaughtered.
And therein lies the rub, dear Reynard. Army. This is no army, but a band of partisans. If we do not adapt to the rules of desperation, if we adhere instead to the Academy Codex, we shall lose. Laying traps, wiping tracks, that's what we should teach the lads. Not marching to the beat.
All my eye. A fighting force must have discipline. Otherwise, tactics and planning are impossible. A soldier must obey orders.
A point on which we all agree. And since they are mine to give, I order you both to calm yourselves at once. And never air your squabbles in front of the men again. Our resources are limited. We cannot do everything at once. Prepare your proposed plans for training the recruits, and I shall decide which we shall follow. Clear? Then get to work.
To harvest, yet the fields are nothing but ash. Did our oats not suit the Emperor? However did our oats and other plantings harm him?
It's gonna be a right good levy, big and beautiful. Stop your yapping and start digging. Gonna need 3 buckets of nails and a tub full of pegs. Don't you worry yourself, Your Grace. We'll get it done in no time.
see Nimoy? Was bound here from I confer. Supposed to have arrived 3 days past.
Your Grace,
Meve heard Reynard call out from behind her.
a scout's returned. Claims to bear an urgent message.
The Queen halted her horse and waited for the soldier to reach her. He abandoned all formalities and jumped straight to the point.
Milady, a black-clad caravan, armed to the hilt, rides this way. To believe the rumours, they're hauling a load of war loot back south.
Reynard gave the soldier new orders, then turned to Meve.
Sounds like a prime opportunity to replenish our coffers.
Indeed. An opportunity we cannot ignore.
The Queen said.
Your unit will block their path. Gascon and his men will hide in the woods and strike their flanks, while I shut the trap, attacking from behind.
Their plan established, Meve gave the signal to move out. A brief moment later, the fight began.
We must drive them into the ambush! Follow me!
I smell a leak.
Life is mine now!
You mad? Don't say that!
Wise choice. Aye. Sure took your time. Thought you'd forgotten about me. Now! Ho! Alba! Gloire! Shh! Cork it!
Ever have a stone knock out one of your teeth?
Off to the front yet again.
We'll catch 'em all!
Scheiße! Im Tank!
We must trust each other.
Off to the front yet again.
The caravan is ours, milady.
Their plan ended in success, the Nilfgaardians crushed. As soon as the dust had settled, Meve tore the canvas off the nearby wagons to see what precious loot they had so carefully guarded. She expected to find gold, jewels, or exquisite silks. Instead, she saw dirty, terrified figures bound in chains.
Slaves,
Reynard muttered.
their precious cargo. Slaves. Behold the glorious future the Empire brings us.
Meve ordered the prisoners freed and discovered they were Edirnian peasants on their way to dig canals and dredge swamps as forced laborers.
You are free. You can return to your homes.
The Queen said. If she expected words of thanks and gratitude, she was in for a disappointment.
What homes, my lady?
Asked one of the peasants, holding back tears.
Took our land, they did. Nothing we have now. Not a rag to wear, not a crumb to eat. Leave us, we die. Soldiers don't do us in, monsters will. Assuming hunger and cold don't get us first.
The Queen was about to answer when she heard Gascon, standing behind her, whisper,
Before you make any rash promises, please, some maths. Dozens of hungry mouths to feed, and weak bodies to defend, twice as many tired legs to wait for, while war rages all around. You do realise you cannot save everyone.
I attacked this caravan hoping to fill my coffers.
the Queen said.
Instead, I have only secured a new drain upon them. But very well. In these ill times, we Northerners must help our own. Women and children in the wagons. The men shall march alongside to the rear. I warn you, if you cannot keep pace, we shall leave you by the roadside. Move out!
The Queen's gaze momentarily caught the eyes of an old woman her soldiers were helping onto a wagon. Tears of gratitude poured down her soot-stained face, across hard lines left by years of destructive toil. Meve was convinced she had done the right thing. As Meve neared Gatberg, her eyes were drawn at once to the black pennants flying over its palisades. Nilfgaard's pennants. Her scouts found the city's buildings intact, its streets unstained by blood. Black-clad soldiers could be seen guarding storehouses holding loot pillaged from nearby settlements. Curiously, these soldiers were very few in number.
The gates stand open. Clearly the Imperials expect no attack, giving us the element of surprise. We can take back the city and
make off with the gold.
Gascon finished. Meve hated Nilfgaard and needed gold to maintain her army. Two very good reasons to attack Gatberg. Her decision made, she ordered her men to prepare for battle. Now the invaders would have to try their hand at defending.
Larven! Essay to nothing!
They feel at home here, the Nilfgaardians. Let's show them they're wrong!
Scrubbing duty again? Oh, gods.
This could hurt.
Ha! New orders? No?
Watch your heads!
Wise choice.
No signs of fighting! These Horsens must have opened the gates for the Blacklads.
This harvest will be reaping Blacklad heads.
Order!
Bigger they are, easier they are to target.
Life is mine now.
You must sweat like a swine in that jacket.
Notice! All roads lead to Nilfgaard.
Of course, as you wish, master. Quick and painful this'll be.
Discipline shall bring us victory!
Scheiß! In time!
Off to the front yet again.
The battle's won, Your Majesty.
The Battle of Gatburg ended in Meve's victory, much to its inhabitants' displeasure. While she examined the Nilfgaardian storehouses, the city's mayor, an elderly gentleman with a walrus moustache, requested a private audience.
Your Grace, I am old. Kill me, you'll merely save my gout the trouble. So I'll be frank. You've but few men. You'll not spare a one to defend the city. When you ride off, the Imperials will retake Gatburg, peer into their looted storehouses, and seek revenge. You will be far off, while we shall be oh so terribly near.
The old man creaked down onto his knees and gripped the hem of the Queen's coat with knobby fingers.
Your Majesty, I beg you, leave the gold, or the streets of Gatburg will flow with the blood of our women and children.
Meve contemplated what to make of the fellow. Should he be praised for his forethought and concern for his townsmen, or condemned for cowardice and insolence? Black Rayla, however, had no such doubts.
Traitors all. Small wonder the town's untouched. Must have opened the gates wide for the southern scum. Now they want us to let them fill their pockets with plundered gold.
After a moment's hesitation, Meve had her soldiers load the stolen gold onto their wagons.
As you pointed out, Mayor, my army is small, which is why I need gold to expand it.
The mayor said nothing. He bowed to the Queen, then hobbled off, leaning heavily on his cane, as if this short exchange had cost him years of life.
We haven't any reason to rejoice, friend. Black-clads will be back. Just you wait and see.
Catch!
I smell a leak.
Should have listened to me, old lady.
The chase is on!
Have it the white of an eye from half a league away.
This harvest will be reaping black-clad heads. My spirit's willing and how, but these damn boots are killing me.
What do you want of me?
You mad? Don't shake that!
Company! Forward march!
Greetings. What is it?
Go, hop, hop.
I'll fight to my last breath.
You must sweat like a swine in that jacket.
Nothing personal, I assure you.
Gatberg opened its gates to the Black Lads. Surrendered without a fight.
Was here just a week past. That was a mill. An inn. Out more than ashes now.
And of the people, not a trace. Not even the bodies.
Army's a waste of time for one like me.
Give me a time.
Left, right, left, right.
Our ballista, your command.
again and again and again.
Look to the high road. The earth furrowed by wheels, hooves. The Blackclads went at Rosberg with all their strength. An ominous sign.
For Nilfgaard, I'd say. The fortress boasts 2 new towers, a deeper moat, gate of wrought iron. It cannot be taken.
You mad? Don't shake that!
There's a time to reap, a time to sow, and a time to die.
Have it the white of an eye from half a league away.
No time for that!
Tell me you jest.
Aye.
What do you want of me?
Bigger they are, easier they are to target. Thing about slings, they hide well.
God's blast it! My breast chafes.
Her Majesty knows what she's doing.
Quick and painful this'll be.
What happened here?
Sadly, it was Rayla who met with surprise. 100-yard gap gaped in the unbreachable walls of Rosberg. The fortress itself was aflame, spewing black smoke into the sky.
I don't... How? It can't be!
There was no time to consider her question, for Nilfgaardian scouts had spotted Meve's company. The Queen knew battle was inevitable, so she gave the signal to form a defensive line, then drew her blade.
Your Grace, Nilfgaardian fighters remain in the city.
You mad? Don't shake that!
Yep.
Now, how did that incantation go?
Thing about slings, they hide well.
Scheiß! In train!
Bloody Horsens. They'll pay for this.
I fear not, for faith guides me.
Off to the front yet again.
Tell me you jest.
This could hurt. Scheiß! In train!
I refuse to believe it. The king could not have died here.
Ja, ja!
Off to the front yet again.
Should have listened to me old lady.
Watch for Demoven's banners! If he's here, we must find him!
The Lyrians met one note of luck in this song of woe. Rosberg had fallen, yes, but the Nilfgaardians, not expecting reinforcements from the south, had stationed only a small detachment to hold it. Meve led her men to victory and retook the fortress. Or rather, what was left of it. What they did not demolish during their assault, the Nilfgaardians burnt once inside the city. Countless charred corpses of both defenders and peasants seeking shelter from the invaders lay among the blackened ruins. Some had tried to shield their children from the fire with their own bodies. To no avail.
Gods be damned!
The Queen cried, pounding her fist against the wall. Meve was about to give the order to move on when she caught a stifled whimper coming from a pile of rubble. Her soldiers ran to the rescue, their bare hands digging through the fiery bricks.
Here! He's alive!
The man they pulled from the ruins had suffered horrible burns. His face was a stew of seared flesh and pus-filled boils, and he reeked of burnt meat. Seeing Black Rayla, the poor soul staggered to his feet and lifted a shaking hand in salute.
Engineer Lieutenant Xavier Lemons, reporting for duty.
Medic! Send for a medic!
Lemons! What the devil's happened?
I know not. The East Tower, I led the defense. Heating oil to tan Nilfgaardian hide. A catapult struck. The cauldron tipped, burst into flames. The rest, I cannot say.
The fortress fell.
Fell? Damned Scoia'tael.
What was that?
Our preparations were perfect. A month, 2 we could have lasted, but traitors were among us. Elves, dwarves, planted charges on the buttresses. An explosion shook the tower, a hole gaped in the wall. Our men threw themselves in, filling the breach.
Vermin, filthy, rotten vermin.
I know you suffer, soldier, but Queen Meve wishes to meet with your sovereign, Demavend. We must know what's become of him.
Gone, luckily. He oversaw the preparations, then returned to Aldersburg. 3 days past.
Then let us do the same. Reynard, prepare our departure.
Hold your grace. Did anyone survive? Anyone at all?
The Nilfgaardians might have taken prisoners. There's hope.
How could they? An entire detachment? An entire city? The animals.
Soldier, my medics will tend to you as best they can. Then we can escort you home if...
This is my home, your grace. Rosberg, I beg you. Let me join your company. Let me exact revenge.
I respect your fighting spirit, good man. But in your state...
Your grace, I can hold neither shield nor sword, but I can still fight in my own way. I'm an engineer. I build siege towers, ballistae, bridges, whatever you wish. I pray, grant me a chance.
Such pain, such ferocity resounded in Xavier's rasping, distorted voice that Meve could not refuse his plea. Once the medics had bandaged his wounds, Meve's men set out towards Aldersburg, following Demavend and the Nilfgaardians. At one point in their journey, Black Rayla rode up next to Meve. The warrior's lips were a thin line, bitten to blood.
My lady, the road to Aldersburg leads through Moulderwood, where Eldain's Scoia'tael prowl. Same filth who killed my men and delivered Rosberg to the Black Butchers.
Rayla breathed deeply to steady her furious, shaking voice.
Please, my lady, I ask you upon the holies, let us find them and destroy them.
Meve gave a slight nod. It seemed the road to Aldersburg would prove long and full of challenges.
Yes?
This Eldain. Could you tell me about him?
He should hang.
I'd hoped to hear advice that will be useful to us in battle.
First of all, you can't rightly trust the bastard. He doesn't respect our laws, doesn't share our morals. The king once dispatched an envoy to Eldain, despite my advice to the contrary. Found the envoy the next day, eyes gouged out, shaft of his white flag jammed down his throat.
So, diplomacy's clearly not the wisest course. But what of battle? What tactics does he employ?
Like all elves, he's a worm. Avoids open confrontation, sets ambushes, attacks from the shadows, from midst the trees. It would be best to burn this whole forest to the ground, deprive him and his folk of cover, any place to hide.
Sounds rather drastic. Like tossing the babe out with the bath.
Believe me, they'd not hesitate to do the same to us. Not for a moment.
Rayla, How are you holding up?
Not certain I understand what you mean.
All Edirn is aflame. Nilfgaard's banners fly over its cities. Don't tell me you're not troubled.
Of course I'm troubled. I stationed at Rosberg for 5 years. Knew all on the crew there by name. But that's war. That's its nature. No sense bemoaning it.
I see. Just know if ever you wish to talk.
I won't. But I do appreciate your concern, ma'am.
I must go. We'll speak later.
Your Majesty, I've been meaning to thank you for allowing me to join your ranks.
Certainly, Xavier. I welcome all foes of Nilfgaard to march beneath my banner. But what did the field surgeon say? Have you not resumed work too soon?
I've strength enough to wield a hammer, though my scars still burn, and fiercely so. My lady, I've seen folk turn and frown at the very sight of me. If my appearance disgusts you, I can...
Nonsense. The Nilfgaardians, not you, should be ashamed. You've no reason to hide, no reason to cower.
Thank you, my lady. It means a great deal to hear that.
You've long served in King Demoven's army, haven't you?
Yes, Your Grace.
Why enlist at all? What prompted you to do so?
The king needed engineers. I answered the call.
Not terribly talkative, are you?
I can build any bridge, any ballista, but to talk, well, it hurts to talk.
I see. Well, do not worry. I prefer deeds to words, in myself and others. Other matters await my attention. We shall speak later.
As you wish, my lady.
A pity Willem is not with us. Were he to see what lies before our eyes, caught a whiff of the burnt bodies, perhaps he would see with whom he now consorts, whom he allowed in our home with nary a fight.
If it be your Majesty's wish, I shall send a rider to the prince with her.
I wish nothing of the sort.
Dwarves breach the walls, ploughing traitors.
Meve's ears caught the sound of a ruckus coming from the camp.
Feet! Ingrid! A pox upon you all!
It was her quartermaster hurling oaths at the peasants she had freed from the Nilfgaardian slave convoy. A few had stolen supplies under the cover of darkness and escaped into the woods. Terror and dread gripped the other freed prisoners. Meve mulled over what to do with them, and Reynard, as always, offered some advice.
'Tis high time they went off on their own, your grace. They are too great a hindrance. They slow our march, divert our soldiers from more important tasks. And now this.
Gascon was listening to their conversation. Meve shot him a questioning look.
I opposed taking them in. So, for consistency, I now oppose forcing them to leave. We made their miserable lives our responsibility, did we not? Well then, that is a burden we cannot simply shrug off.
Let us not mince words. We cast off these peasants now, they shall die.
Meve said in the end.
Let them stay. But I want them watched. They cause any more trouble, military justice they shall face. Understood?
The freed prisoners sighed with relief. The infantrymen assigned to watch over them, however, grumbled their disapproval of the Queen's decision.
'Tis an army, not a shelter,
they said. Meve's ears surely caught the complaint. But the Queen had never let the opinions of others guide her in such matters, trusting only her own judgment.
Not liking the looks of this,
Gascon said, furrowing his brow. Meve followed his gaze. Before them, beside the road, stood a hut with a scorched thatch roof.
Why?
Huts abandoned, yet dried fruit and mushrooms hang from the eaves. Famine raging all around and no one's been tempted. I'd send a scout if I were you.
The Queen did as Gascon suggested, and sent 3 infantrymen to reconnoitre. They entered the hut and found only silence, that was soon broken by a blood-curdling growl. The soldiers ran out at full speed, tripping over their own legs. Meve drew her sword, convinced a horde of neckers or ghouls would soon attack. But her fears proved unfounded. Instead of monsters, out of the hut came a shaggy dog, a torn scrap of fabric clutched in its teeth.
Milady!
One of the soldiers began, his face red with embarrassment and his hands covering a hole in his breeches.
Was dark as a well inside, and that hound, it jumped out at us all of a sudden, biting it and snapping.
Bad boy,
Gascon said with a smile, then pulled a hunk of dried sausage from his bag. Bought by this generous offering, the dog calmed down at once. Further examination showed the dog was the hut's only resident. Like many others in Aedirn, its owners had disappeared without a trace. Their loyal mutt still guarded the premises, waiting for his master's return.
Let's take him with us,
Gascon said.
Otherwise, he'll die here, of his own hunger or someone else's.
A watchful sentry like this could prove useful in our camp,
said the Queen.
Fine, he can join. But he shall need a name.
How about Reynard?
Proposed Gascon, a cheeky grin smeared across his face.
That way, he'll come when you call, sit on command, and always be a heel. Always heel, that is.
Watch your words,
said Reynard, hand tightly gripping the hilt of his sword.
Or you'll learn I'm not at all as tame as you believe.
Enough, both of you. That's an order. As for you...
The Queen took a good look at the dog, who still had a scrap of fabric in his teeth.
Since it seems you've a taste for the cloth of the nether regions, I dub you... Knickers. Will that do?
The dog wagged its tail vigorously, as if thoroughly pleased with its new name. Meve's company marched off, a furry new recruit richer.
This could hurt.
Gonna need,
3 buckets of nails and a tub full of pegs.
I've hit the white of an eye from half a league away.
Don't you worry yourself, Big Grace. We'll get her done in no time.
Meve and her companions neared the Moulderwood, a dense, ancient forest of trees whose tangled branches had witnessed the conjunction of the spheres. It was not until King Vidamont's day that a road was finally carved through the primeval thicket, significantly shortening the journey from Rossburg to Aldersburg.
Even when peace reigns, danger rules this road.
Rayla said.
Now no one dares travel it.
At the edge of the wood by the road stood an enormous willow. Its branches swept down to cover its trunk, looking for all the world like long tresses shrouding a woman's face. Meve had an ill premonition. She did not like the sickly sweet aroma wafting from this tree, nor the metallic buzzing of insect wings. She sent a scout to investigate. He drew aside the drooping branches and stumbled back. There were men bound to the tree, covered in sap oozing from gashes in its trunk. Its heavy scent had attracted swarms of insects, flies, wasps, bees and beetles. They seethed over the bound men, crawling in and out of their ears and nostrils.
Eldane welcomes us to his wood,
Rayla whispered. Meve stepped towards the tree and saw the men stuck to it were all still alive. Those the elves had caught recently writhed and howled for rescue. Those hanging longer merely followed the queen with half-crazed, bloodshot eyes. The Lyrian soldiers stood, daggers in hand, waiting to sever the ropes and free the unfortunate captives. But Meve stopped them with a firm gesture.
Stop! Most are beyond saving, and this may be a trap. Keep your distance from the tree. That is an order.
Meve's men usually carried out her orders without a moment's hesitation. This time, however, they glanced towards her, reluctance writ on their faces. Only after Reynard repeated the order did the Lyrians sheathe their arms and slowly move back towards the road. For a long time thereafter, howls from the old willow trailed them.
Hear that? Nightingales. Unmindful of war, they sing on.
Those are no birds, my lady. Just Scoia'tael scouts use animal cries to communicate. Tell the men to hold to the road, my lady. Anyone wanders in the trees, they don't come out.
Meve's path took her to the village of Iconfurt. Unlike most settlements in the area, not a single human dwelled here. Instead, only elves and dwarves sat on its porches and stared at the passing Lyrians with clear aversion. Not a single greeting was extended to their allies in arms. Not a single peddler tried to hawk their wares. The only sound was that of snapping shutters and slamming doors.
Something's amiss,
Rayla said, furrowing her brow.
Order a halt, my lady, and give me a moment to look around.
You've a quarter of an hour.
Meve said as she dismounted.
And not a moment more.
The Queen sat in the shade of a large pear tree. She shut her eyes and listened to the chirping of crickets in the grass, savoring a rare moment of relaxation. But the calm did not last. Within moments, one of her scouts returned, a certain Sergeant Niedermere. Tears streamed down his weathered, scar-pocked face.
Lady, come with us, please. You'll need to see this for yourself.
The sergeant led her to the still, smouldering remains of a mill. Her soldiers were picking things out from the ashes. When she got closer, she realized in horror they were human skulls, some no larger than apples.
Tell the villagers to gather by the well.
The Queen said in a strained voice.
Or be executed.
The elves and dwarves attempted no denials. They admitted Eldane and his Scoia'tael had helped them round up all the humans in their village, march them into the mill, then set it aflame.
They stole our lands, defiled our names, beat us, murdered us in bloodthirsty pogroms,
shouted one of the dwarves.
They had it coming to them. Got their comeuppance, I'd say.
Meve was no stranger to the cruelty of war, but the enormous evil she found in Iconfurt overwhelmed her. She felt a terrible weight on her chest, found it hard to draw breath, and her head spun. She felt she could hear the cries of humans being burned alive.
Ma'am,
whispered Reynard.
You must pronounce something.
Or simply turn the matter over to me, Your Grace.
Rayla interrupted.
I know what to do.
Do as you see fit.
Meve said quietly, gaze fixed on the ground. The Queen snapped her reins and rode out of the village. She did not want to witness the bloody massacre of non-humans her soldiers were about to perpetrate. What she had seen at the mill already sufficed to keep her awake for many nights to come.
What was that?
Meve asked Reynard, who rode beside her.
A scream. A man's, I think.
Need to investigate. Gather a few men and we ride. Quickly!
The screaming came from a small settlement. When Meve rode up to its farmhouses, her horse reared and neighed in terror. Necrophages swarmed all around. The monsters surrounded a few Nilfgaardians who were trying, with no success, to chase them off with torches. Reynard swept his gaze over the carnage and said,
"They cannot stave them off, and their armor is too heavy for them to flee."
Meve squinted and smiled cruelly.
Soldiers, we behold a battle. On one side fight bloodthirsty, mindless beasts who live to kill, and on the other, ghouls. To my mind, they deserve one another. Fall back.
The queen tugged the reins and turned her mount, ready to leave the village, when Aik stepped into her path.
"'Tis ignoble!"
The knight cried.
"No matter the crest they bear, men they are still. And I, Aik of Dunel, shall race to their succor, even if I must pitch battle alone."
Without awaiting the queen's response, Aik lowered his lance, spurred his mount, and charged at the beasts.
Blast it all.
Meve swore, drawing her sword.
Suppose we can't just leave that fool to the ghouls. Follow me! To battle!
Without delay, the Lyrians rushed to rescue Aik and the Nilfgaardians.
Lower your weapons! We're here to rescue you!
This evil I shall trample out, root and branch!
This could hurt.
Why do you help us?
Watch your heads!
This harvest, we'll be reaping black-clad heads. Let the ghouls eat them, I say.
Silence! The Queen has made her decision.
Hey?
No, they don't hurt.
It worked, Your Grace. The monsters flee.
The Lyrians and the Nilfgaardians fought the monsters side by side, a united force. But when the last necrophage fell, the soldiers immediately returned to their respective divisions. Meve's soldiers looked at the invaders askance, uncertain what would happen next. Suddenly, one of the Nilfgaardians broke ranks and fell to his knees.
Your Grace, I know you have no reason to trust us, but we are not enemies. We hail from Geso, a land Nilfgaard conquered and made its province. We did not ask to fight in this war by force. We were conscripted.
The soldier hefted his sword by the blade and handed it, hilt first, to the Queen.
We yearned for a way to desert, and we have found it. Your Grace, allow us to join your army. We long for the Empire's defeat every bit as much as you do.
Meve helped the kneeling soldier to his feet.
The enemy of Nilfgaard is my friend, no matter who he is or whence he hail.
The Lyrians were clearly displeased with their queen's decision. The black-clad deserters from Geso would need to earn their trust.
one they camest.
I smell a leak.
Peace with humans? I buy that.
Thing about slings, they hide well.
Your tricks will not save you, Dwarf.
My spirit's willing and how, but these damn boots are killing me.
Now we will see who is weak.
Fear not. We shall achieve our goal. I shall not fail!
You must sweat like a swine in that jacket.
Hey there! Come here!
Tell me you jest.
You mad? Don't shake that!
Awaits us all.
Death to Old One!
The unworthy shall be punished.
Armor won't save.
Lyria! Oh, Lady Margarita told us of this.
One bolt I need. Give me a target. Our ballista, your command. Armor won't save them.
One vacanist.
There's a time to reap, a time to sow, and a time to die.
Got business for me?
Enough chit-chat. Draw your weapon.
Let us sing the song of steel!
Getting to work.
This could hurt.
Her Majesty is exceptional.
Watch your heads!
Coin never stinks, no matter how rank the pouch.
We got a job to do.
will see who is weak.
What do you want of me?
Her Majesty knows what she's doing.
Hey? Ever have a storm knock out one of your teeth?
I shall not fail! None shall tread on us!
Take what the werecat dragged in. Everything all right? Have strength, my love.
Blood and neck ends. Similian Vat.
A knight should help. Our codex commands it.
On the edge of the Moulderwood there stood a small village, Crumhorn. The hamlet was surrounded by a high palisade, while the villagers carried makeshift weapons, flails, axes, and nail-studded planks. Life as the Scoia'tael's neighbors was clearly not easy. While her men rested, Meve approached two of the villagers. They lowered their heads in respect and fidgeted nervously with their shirt hems.
My lady, reckon you ought to know. Elves meeting traders in the woods at night. Buy swords, herbs.
Rayla, who had overheard the conversation, twisted her mouth in a hateful scowl.
Hawkers stink worse than vermin. Willing to help murderers for coin. Please, milady, we must find them and punish them. You, talk. Where do these meetings take place?
The peasants looked at each other. One scratched his head, the other toed the sand. Finally, one of them blurted out,
"Could tell you, milady, yes, but only for gold."
I see I'm dealing with shrewd men of trade. Fine. Your fee.
Meve took a few coins from her pouch and tossed them on the ground. The peasants dropped on all fours and started snatching the coins from the grass, ignoring the contemptuous gaze of the Queen's soldiers.
Them hawkers wheeled them goods to the old fishing hut north of here. Scoia'tael come a-crawling from the woods, the first crow of the cockerel.
The Queen told her men to prepare to fight the Scoia'tael and their abettors. Black Rayla sat on a fallen trunk and sharpened her sword. The grinding of stone on blade sounded a grim promise.
We got the gold. Them elves will get a beating.
Meve arrived at the hut the villagers claimed to be the meeting point for the Scoia'tael and the hawkers. Torchlight flickered amidst the trees, and she heard the sound of hushed voices.
Your Grace,
whispered Rayla.
They're in our grasp. We must act quickly before the elves retreat into the woods.
Worry not, Rayla.
The Queen said, patting her on the back.
I shan't let a chance like this slip. Attack!
The Lyrians rushed out of the woods at the unsuspecting elves and merchants. Moments later, the sound of combat filled the dark wood.
Hawker scum!
Catch!
Special price, just for you, love.
I smell a leak.
Show me the coin or sod off.
I'll fight to my last breath.
Defendvara!
As ordered.
Her Majesty knows what she's doing.
I fear not, for faith guides me.
So, hop hop.
Have it the white of an eye from half a league away.
May your sword and arm be one.
My spirit's willing and how, but these damn boots are killing me.
I shall not fail!
Coin never stinks, no matter how rank the pouch.
None shall tread on us!
We ought to help one or the other.
Sod it. Sod it all.
Oh my. Everything all right?
This is elven land, Dwan, upon which your kind dies.
There's but one penalty for trading with elves.
Meve pulled off a rare trick. She laid a trap for the Scoia'tael in their own woods. The surrounded elves fought to the bitter end, choosing death over human captivity. Meve cracked open the hawkers' chests and stared at a mass of tangled oakum. Perplexed, she dug deeper and found the real goods hidden underneath. Bolts with entrail-pureeing hooks, leg-snapping bear traps, and incurable poisons.
Instruments of cruelty,
said Reynard, looking over the chest's contents.
Designed to deliver maximum pain and a prolonged death.
'Tis shameful to fight with such things.
The usually quiet Ache blurted out. Gascon did not share in the general gloom. He reached for one of the arrows and balanced it in his hand with curiosity.
A corpse is a corpse. It cares not how it became one. And these marvels, oh, my lads could do fine things with them.
The ends justify the means.
Meve said curtly as she grabbed a weapon from one of the chests. Her soldiers followed suit and equipped themselves with hawker arms. Soon enough, the elves would feel the pain they'd hoped to inflict on others.
Have we not passed this way before?
Scouts say no, Your Grace. They mark the trees.
Elves could have erased the marks, or left new ones where we've yet to tread.
My spirit's willing and how, but these damn boots are killing me.
You'll never take me alive!
Fear not! We shall achieve our goal! Catch!
Quiet, or the Commissar will hear.
Sod it. Sod it all.
Kayam!
We must trust each other.
Tell me you jest.
Order!
No time for that!
Your Veth will avenge us, Dwan!
I smell a leak.
Ryan!
The storm is coming. Let's enjoy the weather while we still can.
And just when you thought things were about to get dull.
Hey there! Come here!
A knight should help. Our codex commands it.
Wow.
Meve was discussing some matter with Gascon when a scout approached. His blood-streaked uniform revealed the matter to be urgent, so the Queen cut short her conversation and requested a report.
We were scouting, milady, and we found a cave entrance. Small scattering of elves guarding it, but we took them right out.
Gascon scratched his chin.
I'd wager 10 Novigrad crowns there are more Scoia'taels squirreled away inside. We strike afore they know we've snuffed out their guards, we might well catch them by surprise. But we must act quickly.
Then let us act. Gather some men and prepare them for an attack. But keep quiet.
The Lyrians crept into the cave. They moved carefully, noiselessly even, avoiding notice for quite a while. Nevertheless, elven warriors soon came pouring out of a side cavern.
Tuan!
Everything all right?
They're not backing down! Must be something of value to them here! Enough chit-chat! Draw your weapon!
Little A. We ought to help one or the other.
Fear not. We shall achieve our goal.
Go, hop, hop.
Oh my.
Now we will see who is weak.
You mad? Don't shake that!
Oh, my little A.
There's a time to reap, a time to sow, and a time to...
We ought to help one or the other.
Me. Dwan fi Cainist.
We must trust each other.
Aye. Should have listened to me old lady. This harvest will be reaping black-clad heads. Admiral and ship.
shall not fail!
Dwarf!
Nothing personal, I assure you.
Dance of death! Ha! Ha!
The unworthy shall be punished.
This is elven land, Dwan, upon which your kind dies.
Death to humans!
They resisted to the very end.
When the Lyrians broke the elven ranks, Meve was convinced their foe would retreat and regroup. But to her surprise, the Scoia'tael fought to the bitter end. She concluded there must have been something truly valuable hidden in that cave. As Meve entered the next chamber, her nose caught the stink of blood, pus, and urine. Then she understood. The elves were using the cave as a field hospital. Wounded fighters lay by the cavern walls. They made no attempt to defend themselves, nor to beg, nor to make peace with the gods. They merely watched the Lyrians calmly, with stark contempt.
Milady,
Whispered Rayla.
you saw what the Scoia'tael are capable of. What they do to humans. They would have no mercy for...
Reynard, usually calm, could not hold back and cut Rayla off.
What, pray, do you suggest? That we murder the wounded?
The warrior responded in a whisper, slowly emphasizing her words.
I suggest you leave. Leave me and my men. We'll take care of the rest.
Meve swallowed with difficulty. The rancid, clammy air caught in her throat.
We'll await you at the top, Rayla.
The Queen moved towards the exit, keeping close to the walls. After a long hesitation, Reynard followed. Rayla joined them later that evening. She spent a long time washing the blood from her armor. Meve was riding at the head of the caravan when Black Rayla rode up and leaned towards her. She spoke in a whisper, a hand shielding her mouth.
Your Grace, I've something important to tell you. Yet you can't show anything's amiss. Look straight ahead. Make no sudden moves.
Meve nodded slightly and waited for her to continue.
Scoia'tael scouts in the woods, watching us. Eldain's near here somewhere, preparing his attack.
So what do you propose?
Asked the Queen, her gaze fixed on the road ahead.
Let him catch us out in the open. We're sitting ducks. But there are ruins nearby, an elven cemetery. We can find cover behind its walls.
Meve was accustomed to discussing important decisions with all her advisors, but she knew there was no time for consultation now. She had to trust Black Rayla's advice, and so without further delay issued the appropriate orders. Meve's retinue reached the cemetery before dusk. Her soldiers knocked down the marble statuary and piled them into barricades, while scouts took up positions outside the walls to watch for the foe's approach. When the sun set, the woods exhaled the heat of the day, and a thick fog soon arose. Out of the mist stepped Reynard's scouts, bound and pushed forward by elves. One of the Scoia'tael, a sturdy elf with long hair, stood by the cemetery wall and cried,
I am Eldain. I would speak to Meve.
I am she. Speak.
Cadmil en Kedva Genvid, Renna. This place is of great import to us, the Enshe. I would tell you of its monuments, of the weeping Ensevern, carved by 3 generations of sculptors, or of the alabaster relief of King Kelad, so beautiful even the birds would gather to admire it. But I see your men have found our memorials, and, in the way of Dwan, destroyed them without a second thought. I cannot say this comes as a surprise. You've already shown the gods molded you from the basest of matter. You murdered injured soldiers who no longer posed you any threat. You agreed to lynch an entire village, without trial.
Get to the point, Eldain.
So I shall. As you certainly know, the necropolis is surrounded. Soon there shall be a battle, but it is unseemly to fight in a cemetery. So I ask you to come out into the open.
And surrender our tactical advantage.
I suspected a matter so impractical as respecting the dead would mean nothing to you, Dwan. So I submit one more argument. The lives of the soldiers you sent to spy. If you leave the cemetery, I shall set them free. They will fight at your side. If not, I shall kill them, here and now.
Milady, don't listen to him. He can't be trusted.
Rayla, those are good men. Fabian, Gerrit, Matthias, they've served me for a decade. They'd crawl through 7 hells for their queen. They do not deserve such a death.
I place a high value on my men's lives. Which is why I cannot risk my entire unit for a handful of soldiers.
Your Grace, please, consider.
I reject your offer, Eldain.
As you wish, Renna. Squash me.
In a swift, almost careless movement, Eldain slit the throat of the scout standing nearest to him, then gave the order to attack.
Careful, stay alert. They're cowards all, and sure to have laid traps. You'll never take me alive!
Getting to work. This could hurt.
One for keenest.
Prepare to fight, if you've any honor.
This harvest will be reaping black-clad heads. My spirit's willing and how, but these damn boots are killing me. Sod it all.
Special price, just for you, love.
There's a time to reap, a time to sow, and a time to die.
Now we will see who is weak.
Her Majesty is exceptional.
Aye. Should have listened to me old lady.
Your tricks will not save you, Dwarf.
Watch your heads!
I shall not fail!
Go, fuck up!
Look what the werecat dragged in.
Nothing personal, I assure you.
Onward, Fryhead!
Quiet, or the Commissar will hear.
Slaughter them to a man!
Bladder! Beaner!
After a long, bloody battle, Eldain's unit was destroyed, and Eldain himself sat at Meve's feet, defeated and dying.
To die in a cemetery. Something amusing in it, wouldn't you say?
I am surprised you are in the mood for humor.
All my tears I shed years ago. My family, killed in a massacre aimed at eradicating our race. Senseless. Utterly senseless. Reyna, we have lost. Me, my Scoia'tael, the Enshe. We shall vanish from this earth. Your grandchildren will know us in fairy tales only. Lay my bones to rest in a grave. Let me part this world with dignity. Ager Dregared.
Oh, please! How dare he? Look, he laughs, Your Grace! This dog should rot in an open field. Need I mention the willow? The men he strung from it?
Mercy you don't deserve, Eldain. I shall leave you where you lie, where rats will gnaw at your bones.
In your boots, I would do the same.
Vasse derad, ep again.
Meve gave the order to march that very night, not waiting for the day to break. She wished to leave behind as soon as possible the moulderwood and the rotting elven remains littering Kedva Genvid Cemetery. Black Rayla rode at the head of the caravan to the Queen's right, a satisfied smile playing on her lips.
At last. I'd begun to think this wood had no end.
And I thought bandits knew their way round a wood.
We do. Around those not brimming with elves armed to teeth.
I live to serve you. Without hesitation.
Can't take it anymore. Got any victuals? Hungry like a wolf I am.